Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the fifth episode of Immigration Buzz by Adnan and SHARIQ. Myself, Hassan SHARIQ from Toronto, and my very good colleague and friend Adnan from Calgary. We both welcome you into this episode of Immigration Buzz. I hope all of you are doing great. The feedback that we are getting is amazing. A lot of people are liking the format of the show. So please continue watching the show as well as providing your feedback so that we can talk about the topics that you want to listen to. Um, Improving our show, we have come up with a new idea this time around, where this time around we have somebody as guest who will talk about his experience. I'd say that this particular program, the focus is that people who are interested in moving to Canada and starting a business, they get to know that how does it feel to establish and manage a business in Canada. So for today's show, we have Wasim, who moved to Canada back in 2009 as a student. So he's had that experience, then worked in the province of Alberta for a while, and in 2016 established his own firm, which now is a multi-million dollar business, and he's doing really successful. So we'll welcome Wasim. Welcome, Wasim, to the show. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much, Hassan, and thank you so much, Adnan. I'm really honored and humbled to be as a guest in your program. And I have seen, I think, the first couple of episodes from your program, and that's great. I mean, you guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Wasim. Really appreciate. I know Hassan tried to elaborate your introduction, briefly, but I would really appreciate if you could tell about your story yourself, like in a couple of minutes, please.
For sure, for sure. So, I think Adnan, you know that I moved in Canada back in 2009 as a student, and I got admission in University of Alberta. That's in Edmonton, one of the very old university in Canada. I think it's established since 1914. So I did my Masters of Engineering there for 2 years. Graduated from there in 2011, and then started working for oil and gas industry in Alberta. So it was a big company, Halliburton. You probably heard of it. Like most of your audience might be aware of it because it's working in more than 100 countries. So yeah, I worked in Halliburton for a year, then moved to another smaller company. I worked there for 5 years, and that was a game changer in my life. That when I thought that okay, I can continue with this career working for another company and keep going on a path which a petroleum engineer might take, or there's another way of doing things differently, and that's the business world, that's the entrepreneurship world. So the idea came to my mind that okay, uh, Canada, as we all heard about, it's a land of opportunities. So why not explore this? So I started thinking about it that what are the opportunities available for somebody like myself who has an engineering degree and have some experience. So it's a long journey, I would say, but slowly and steadily I started working on it. I found out that there are about 700 plus companies just in Calgary who are doing the oil and gas business. And just to give you background, and I mean, like most of us are from Pakistan, and but in any other country, even if you go to the Middle East, you might see that exploration and production companies, there are only few names. I mean, in for example, Saudi Arabia, it's only Saudi Aramco. In UAE, it's just that NOC, or just the national companies are working there. Even in our own country, Pakistan, you have like a dozen companies who are running the whole business. And here you go in Canada, just one city, 700 plus companies who are doing the oil and gas business. So that's why it's called land of opportunity. So like if a job is being done by only few people, it's just limited to just like top guns, right? And somebody like us who are immigrating from across the world and coming here just to see what opportunities are available. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And that was like about a work of a year when I started looking for partners. And I mean, I was lucky enough that I found a partner who was willing to do the same thing which I want to do it. So in 2016, we established this company. The name of the company is Silverleaf Resources, and we started on a smaller scale. I mean, we acquired one asset in southern Alberta, and then we worked on that project. That was really successful project that gave us the hope that yes, we can do it. So from 2016 to 2021, in less than 5 years, I would say, because that was the late 2016 when we established this company. I mean, mashallah, we are doing really great. It's our production has improved like 50 times more what we where we started, and on revenue side, it's again the same multiplier that we have hired the people. And I mean, I want to add something here that when you are doing job, of course you are just earning for yourself, but when you run a business, you actually create job. And I mean, that's the way, that's one way of helping people. So
So Wasim, sorry, I have to ask because you are telling about the company. I want to understand. You took a very challenging leap, like in this journey.
mhm.
You are still a professional engineer registered in Alberta. You left your corporate job. You came into this. So what sort of business, like in very simple words for a layman to understand, what you do in your company, which actually like went skyrocketed like in a couple of years. So we want to understand in a very simple words for our audience, please.
Right. And I mean, I'm aware that some of your audience won't be from oil and gas background, and of course, that's fine. But just to give you an example, like any company, like you might heard of, like I took the name of Saudi Aramco, Shell, or Synovus, or some of you who are from Alberta, they would know Suncor. So Silverleaf does exactly the same thing what all these big guns do, but just on a smaller scale. And I mean, that's just a matter of opportunity which Land of Canada provide to everybody, that they can come into this ground, and then like they can start their own small unit. And I mean, if things works out for them, it would multiply by 2, multiply by 10 or 2,000, or just sky's the limit. Just exactly the same thing, what the big companies are doing.
So it should be challenging, like to attract the investors in the beginning. I'm sure about it, especially like you were so young. When you started business, I think your age was around 30ish. Getting attracting investors in the beginning is a very challenging thing to do, and I'm sure your partner was having an experience on that. But just tell us, like, how difficult for an engineer or as a company to attract investors, like what, because there is a big companies you mentioned already in Calgary, right? So what you did, like what hurdles you cross, how
I
you
agree. I
found out? Yeah.
absolutely agree, Adnan, with you that it's a very tough job to raise funds, especially for a small business. And I mean, there are lots of challenges. But the good news is, the government of Canada, they help you raising the fund, and I mean, they support you. They gives you sometime interest-free loans, and sometimes they actually connect you to the bigger sharks, I would say, who can invest in your business. And of course, the other path is like which I took, is the private equity, right? And I mean, but there are a couple of options available on equity side, on debt side, and on just simple private investment side.
Awesome. And Wasim, tell me, like, you started business, like it's not like a decade ago, it's just a couple of years you're here. So what you will advise to the new immigrants, like who are coming here, landing, and they want to start their business? What advice you can give them, like as a step one, do this, and then step two, go into this particular thing
Right,
from a
right.
broader business point of view?
Yeah. Adnan, I would suggest to the youngsters, especially who are coming, I would say think big, dream big. That's the most important thing. And when you think big and when you dream big, then there's a path. Like who, I mean, if you do not have a vision, you cannot do anything. And after that, if you have an option of working, like I don't recommend going to the entrepreneurship world right away. My suggestion would be just get some experience. And in terms of experience, like the owner of Alibaba said that work in a small company, because when you work in a small company, they teach you how to dream. And that's very important for your future business. And I mean, you will learn lots of things. I mean, even starting with the PN job, or like, administration job, from there to all the way up to the president level. So, like, you would know different aspects of a business, different aspects of a company. And on the other side, if you're working for a bigger company, I always tell them, it's just like a bee working in a big factory. So you're going to do the same thing over and over again, 24/7, or 7 days a week, or 365 days a year. So you won't know what other person is doing who's sitting next to you. And while
Right.
you're working in a smaller company, it will be all different. It's all in your hand. And I mean, you need to see the whole cycle, right? So that would be my
Right.
advice now.
Awesome. Awesome. I noticed, Wasim, from going on your LinkedIn profile, and I know you are keep on hiring people, and especially I know you give preference to the students, young students who are coming here for study. Is it because you are an immigrant yourself, and as a student you give preference to those guys, especially during the summer months? Is it like your personal choice, or your company's setup is like that? You need students to work with you. What is the psyche behind it?
So in my company, Adnan, you're right. Like, we do hire youngsters, we do hire fresh grad, but at the same time, we have experience like Wayne. He got about 40 plus years of experience, and our idea of running things. And I mean, my production accountant, or the accounting side, they got about 30 plus years of experience. The geologist I have, he got like about 35 plus years of experience. So altogether, these three person is 100 plus years of experience, right? So what we have done in our company is actually a combination of young energy and the experience. And like, I mean, what to say, like, so you got the guidance and advice from the experienced people, and then you got the energy of the young people. So it's the best combination, I would say, and it's working fine for me. And I mean, yeah, definitely there's some preference in a way that it's hard to get into the to the companies when you do not have any experience. And I mean, I faced that when I moved to Canada. So I kind of try to help those people, like, who doesn't have any experience, just give them, like, an opportunity, and then it's on their own. So people come work for me, and then they get hired from other companies, they moved on, and it's just a cycle. And I think I'm gonna keep doing this, and that's my way of helping people.
Exactly. I understand, like in Calgary, especially the engineering jobs work very differently. You need to enter into the market, especially from an immigrant point of view. And getting the first job is the challenging one. And I'm very glad to hear that you are providing the first step to the new immigrants who are landing here to provide them the opportunity to grow in future. Wasim, also tell us, like, two questions I have, but let me ask you one by one, because I'm full of questions right now. Uh, First of all, just you mentioned about the operations doing the same job again and again. So, what are you going to do in the next 5 years? What's your planning is? Are you going to repeat the same model you are doing in the oil and gas on repetitive measures, or there is something new you are going to introduce? Like, just tell us about.
Very good question, Adnan. And I think in order to answer that, I'll have to go into more technical details of oil and gas. And it might be a little bit boring, but I think I have to do this.
Just
So,
keep it smaller, because we have an audience who will get bored, right?
yeah, and I mean, that can be correlated to any other business too. And because oil and gas business, like, some people think that it's changing world, because there are lots of discussion about the emission and carbon and whatnot. And the renewable resources are coming, and energy sector might change in I would say next few decades. So from Silverleaf point of view, we have to consider all that. And I mean, when you talk about like 5 years, we would probably be focusing on diversifying the business. I mean, that's going to be our core business. Don't get me wrong. The main extraction of oil and gas would be the main hardcore business. But at the same time, we don't want to be stupid and like ignore like what's happening around us. So probably we'll be focusing on diversifying. So yeah, that would be one of the things we'll do
Awesome.
in coming
Awesome.
years.
So Wasim, about the investment thing again, coming back to it, I know you mentioned like it was challenging in the beginning to get investment. I'm sure you are not having any of that issue right now because your results prove worldwide, I would say. So for a person who wants to invest in your company or something, like you have a shares kind of setup, or what kind of services, like how they will connect you, what will happen if they have to invest, what is your model on that, please?
Right, right, absolutely. It's a good question too, and I mean, so let's talk about the professional people who are well settled in Canada. And actually, that's one of the challenge which I felt when I was working in a company. So most of us who are professional and working good in good companies, they have some free cash, and like they don't know what to do with it. Like I mean, some might invest in properties, some might invest. Like I mean, Hassan would probably know that like in Ontario side, the property is a really good investment, and but it's not the same in all over the Canada. Like I mean, especially in western provinces like Saskatchewan, Alberta, and BC, it's a different world. So I was telling you, like when I was working in that company, I had some free cash, and I was thinking what to do with this. Like I mean, there were very few options available, especially in Alberta. So that was also going in my head, like when I was thinking about the business. So what we have done is created a vehicle for the people who want to invest and wants to get like a good cash flow return on their capital investment. There is an opportunity in Silverleaf Resources that they can invest and they can get a good handsome return back. So just to give you a perspective here, in last 4 years, on an average, Silverleaf Resources was able to deliver about 18%, 18 to actually 19% on an average rate of return in the last 4 years. And I mean, don't forget that 2020, like, I mean, I'm not talking about oil and gas, in any business, anywhere in the world, has been impacted by that. And I'm proud to say that, like, we were able to give a return of about 12% in 2020. At the same time, when oil and gas companies like the big guns, Suncor, Shell, Cenovus, they were actually revising their dividends. They were actually giving the dividends in a reinvested amount, and we were able to distribute that cash to our investors. So I would say, and from this forum, I would recommend to check us out online. I mean, I think there's a email on the screen, like where people can reach us if they're interested, and we can always provide more information if that is something they want to do.
Yeah,
Awesome, Wasim.
just
Yeah.
just to add that I've put the email address for all the viewers on the screen. So anybody who's interested in getting the insight from Wasim about his experience about the company, feel free to just shoot an email on that.
Yeah, awesome. And also, like Wasim, it's important to say that, as an immigrant, people who already worked for like a decade in their career, they have a money like laying in the bank but doing nothing, and they want to bring it to Canada. They have a lot of money because they worked on a very professional job, so they do not have, or they do not know the opportunity where they can invest. So I think if the immigrants, if they are listening this program, of course, it's a good opportunity to invest your money, which is going to stay in the bank, rather invest it with some company to earn some good numbers. As Wasim mentioned, the dividend was around 18% on average. That is remarkable, like really very great that you share that info. So yeah, of course, check it out. Reach out to Wasim at info@silverleafrees.com. So of course, he's gonna help you out. And we are getting a very good comments and appreciation for this particular program. So let's bring something like just to let Wasim know. Let me bring it. So Zahir Babar, he mentioned, great to see a successful entrepreneur from Canada. Thanks for sharing your experiences, Wasim. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Another comment came from Zawar Heather. Good effort. Thank you. Uh, what else here? Yeah, another one comment came from Wajahat Faizan. Great to see fresh discussion. Thank you, Wajahat. Wajahat is our regular listener here on our show. All right, awesome. Now that's really great. We will not take your much time. We know it's a busy morning for you. and we are very thankful that you have taken out almost half an hour for us. It's great. Please, Shariq, do you have any questions for Wasim, or we can just say him a goodbye? for,
Quite a lot of valuable information. Just a closing question that I might ask, that connecting it with our main topic of immigration. Wasim, you moved in Canada, like you've been through this whole journey where you've been a student, you've worked, and now you're a successful businessman. For a lot of people who are out there and they're considering Canada for any of these moves, why would you recommend Canada? Like, why Canada? What is in Canada for people from outside of Canada?
Right. So I'll actually share something here. And I mean, like you mentioned, I moved here in 2009. So it's about 12 years I've been here. And I had an opportunity to travel and across the world. And I mean, being from Pakistan, I mean, of course, like that's our first home. And I mean, nothing like it. But when you are choosing, when you're deciding to live outside of Pakistan and you want to make a second home, that's what I call Canada, right? A second home. So, I mean, comparing it with any other country in the world, in Europe, in America, even in Middle East, what I have found, that Canada is the best country. Canada is the best country, and I would say that again. So, I mean, that's my personal opinion, and I mean, like I mentioned in the start of our discussion, this is the land of opportunities. And I mean, some might disagree, and there might be, some people like say like, oh, I came here, but like it didn't work for me, and blah blah blah. But I tell you what, like I haven't seen a single person who came here and who tried to get a job or to run a business, and he was not able to do that. So I still have to meet a single person. It's just like, stay focused. If you are focused, I mean, this is the land of opportunities. And I think that would be my concluding comment, Shark.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Very valuable information. And, this is a success story in front of us, who's actually moved to this place and built a success. So anybody out there who has the ambition can do it. So yeah, thank you, Wasim. Thank you for your time. And Adnan, we can let him go and start work on the oil and gas exploration once again.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Once again, thank you for having me. I'm really humbled to be here. Thank you so much, and you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you so much, Wasim.
Bye bye. Have a great day ahead. So that was Wasim, a success story that we wanted to share with all of you, because a lot of times when we talk with people, prospective immigrants, they have this question that I have a very comfortable life wherever I'm based in. I'm having a good job, I'm having a good business. Should I make the move? The final decision is with you as an individual, but there are all the reasons to make that move and make Canada as your home, and follow your ambitions. For those of you who would want to connect with Wasim about his experience or regarding getting to know about his company and stuff, I will once again share the email address on screen, so that if anybody is interested. And with that, we'll move on to the second part of our show, which is the regular question and answer. And Adnan, there are quite a few. But before we move on to that, let's have a look at a video, and we'll be back in about a minute. So welcome back, everybody. Returning back to our question and answer and comments. So let's start on Adnan. I'll start off with Ali Malik, who is asking that paid internship 1 year after studies, graduation, is considered valid experience in express entry. Adnan?
Yes, it is, because it is paid, and especially it is after your graduation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is counted in the express entry points. Yeah, no question about that. Yeah, it's very simple. Yeah.
Yeah. So the basic test that for any of you is that if it is paid, if it is full time as defined, 30 hours or more, and it is not part of your studies, if it is after your graduation, it is not a requirement of studies. It is considered as eligible work experience for express entry. It doesn't matter if it is a very high salary or a low salary, but as long as it is paid. Next on, Hamza. And Hamza is a regular attendee as well as he asked question, and a very, very important question. Adnan, he's asking, what is the difference between RCIC consultant and immigration lawyer?
I will give it the toss to you to answer this, because I know you memorize now by now what is the difference.
Hamza, first of all, so RCIC, and this is again for knowledge of everybody out there. RCIC basically stands for Regulated Canadian Immigration Consultant. This is a title that Adnan and myself, we both hold. And then there's immigration lawyers. So in Canada, if you wish to practice in the field of immigration consulting, immigration advising, represent clients for immigration, there are only select professions or professionals who can do that. Government only allows them. RCIC, Regulated Canadian Immigration Consultant, is one of them. Canadian lawyers who are admitted to the Canadian bar can do that. The difference between the two is that a Canadian lawyer is allowed to practice in any field of law. So they can represent clients in commercial cases, in civil cases, and other areas as well. So they can represent, they can consult, advise, and represent cases for Canadian immigration as well. RCICs have their education, their training, and license specifically for immigration matters. So we can if somebody comes to us, we can advise and represent them on immigration. But if somebody gets into a criminal activity and they want services for that, we're not able to provide. So that's the difference. And also in certain instances, if you wish to go to the federal court, that is where only lawyers can present the cases. We wouldn't really be going into that. But for most of you who are looking at just your express entry and these stuff, an RCIC and lawyer pretty much can provide the same services. Adnan, if I've missed anything on that?
No, that's very comprehensive. That's fine.
Yeah. Moving forward, Mohammed has a question. Mohammed again is a regular attendee, and his question is, and I believe Mohammed is somebody who's waiting on an FSWP invitation, because his questions are always related to that, and he's holding us accountable for something that we said in the last session. Adnan, you would want to take a lead on that?
Yeah. So he's saying, you told us that Canada need outland immigrants. Can you tell me the reasons why Canada can't depend on inland immigrants? Mohammed, the thing is, Canada has already used the applications, a lot of like 90% of the applications which are inland. So they have given 40,000 PR to students. They introduced the new temporary TR to PR pathway, we call it temporary resident to permanent resident. They introduced so many thousands of applications there. Canadian experience class draw is going on a bi-weekly basis on average. So they are using maximum what they can. That's why the score was coming down in Canadian experience class. But there is a limit to it. Like, it's getting saturated. So they need to open up the outland as well. That is where the federal skilled worker comes into play. And this is our understanding is they will start this program soon. We don't know when, but it's a government decision. But of course, looking at the statistics, I'm hoping that they're going to start this one very soon.
I'll just add onto that Mohammed, you have to look at the numbers. All these things are backed by stats. This particular year, if you look at the numbers of study permits which have been issued, the number of students who've moved to Canada. So About a year back, Canada had reached a level of about close to about 400,000 study permit holders in Canada. Now, if you look at those numbers, the numbers that are being granted this particular year, that's small. So, the students who are entering Canada, it is the inland applicants come from majorly two streams. First, students who graduate, or people who are maybe working. So sometimes it's people who are on a work permit, or maybe somebody who's moved as a family class immigrant. Now, if there is less supply of people in these streams, study permit holders being the big ones, that means that there will be less people available for the Canadian experience class as well, which will ultimately compel the government to move towards the outland applicants. So for that reason, yes, it is coming sometime. We don't know how far is that particular time. Okay, so we have a question which comes regularly, and this is by Tanveer Kazmi. How to get a job in Canada? The second part is while outside Canada.
Yeah, so that is, Tanveer, to be honest, that is possible. Depends on your skill set, the strength of your resume, and how you approach them. So there are a number of ways people do. There is way or through LinkedIn. There are ways through job bank, like you get the details of the employer who are looking for it, and you send your resume maybe, and if they like your skill set, if it is unique, of course they will consider you. It's not something that it's really not possible, but it is really contingent to your own skill set. So it do happens. Like we know people who got jobs while they were outside. So it's possible, yeah. But keep trying. There are different websites for job hunting which you can actually avail. Number one is LinkedIn, because very serious postings coming on to that. So, and that is number one. That's the other thing you can try is the networking. That is the key to success. If you know someone who is already working in Canada in your particular field, try to reach out to him and ask for the mentorship. And sometimes people do, a lot of people do, and I personally know that. So that is another way in which you can maximize the chances of getting your job.
Yeah, no, perfect. Again, it's something which is not all that easy, but it's not something which is impossible as well. So again, as Wasim was saying, you have to be focused, and you have to also realize that not everybody will be able to secure a job. If you think that you have skill set, like if you're just a fresh graduate, you might struggle finding a job anywhere in the world. How could you expect to land into a job here in Canada?
And one more thing people do, Tanveer, and just to let you know that sometimes people try to go one step lower than their current positions to secure a job, which is like you beginner level job. People do that because they already have tons of experience. It's easy for them to prove it once they get a chance in the company. I did the same when I landed here, and I started, although I was a project manager back there, but I started in Canada as a project coordinator, and within 3 years I reached to senior project manager position. So the companies do see these things, like when you are working with them. So getting the first job, you need to compromise sometimes on the salary, sometimes on your position as well. So this is how it actually works in Canada.
Perfect.
Hassan, there is one, I think, question. I think we left it. So let me bring it up. So it is from Zavers. Please tell that in ILMS, okay, visa, the IELTS is required. So Hassan, yeah, please, if you want to take a shot.
I actually think that this ILMS is LMIA.
Yeah, LMIA.
That's my understanding, and if that is correct, then so LMIA is for a work permit. And for work permit, you are not required to have IELTS. You're required to have a job offer from an employer. So no, IELTS is not required. I believe I assessed ILMS as LMI as right. Adnan, we have a question from Mohammed Ozi. Mohammed Ozi, for a while when I was a regular YouTube session conductor, used to be there, and I think he's applied. So his question is basically about when are going to be the PPRs and COPARs going to be issued. It's been a while. Mohammed, only IRCC would have a final say on that. we all are expecting things to move towards some positive orientation. But because see, first of all the CPR holders from last year, they were restricted from travel. Now they've been allowed to travel. So a large number of them have actually landed and have carried out their PR activation. On the 7th of September, government allowed people to travel to Canada on a visitor visa for non-essential purposes as well. So all these things are indicating that moving forward, now we might start seeing outland applications being finalized, as well as outland applicants being invited. So that's all that I can sort of say. Adnan, anything that you would want to add?
No, it's fine, because yeah, this is we are all waiting for to start again the normal one. So there is a contingent question also, I think a second question right after that, Hassan, from Mohammed again. Let me bring it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the question is, what could be the possibilities of not getting in login in job bank? It gives an error, though we have all info to. This might actually be a technical glitch. I am not 100% sure because I've not done.
Yeah, it do happens. It do happen if you are actually try it to log in multiple times within the 24 hours window. It sometimes do happen. So if you have tried couple of times, does not work, just give it like a cooling period of 24 to 48 hours. Try afterwards, and hopefully it will work. Other than that, we couldn't see any other reason other than the technical glitch, or maybe the website is down. But try to give some time to it.
Yeah, because this happens with a lot of IRCC online portals, that sometimes if the volume is too much, sometimes it will not let you in. So for that, you just need to wait and maybe look for another time. I think, Adnan, that's all the questions.
Yes.
We have some comments. So Bilal, good to see you in an interactive session. So it seems that people actually liked Wasim coming here and providing some insight. So I think that's all for the session. Again, your feedback is greatly appreciated. If you have further questions, do share that in the comment section. One thing that I'd like to highlight over here, that since we've been doing this was the 5th episode, Adnan and myself, we both have been receiving a lot of emails and queries and contacts. So if you would want to have your profile assessed, you need to book a consult. That's the way it works out. You can go on Adnan's website. You can go on my website. These are available in the description, as well as at the end of the videos that we share with you. Book a consult, and that's when we can really advise you as to what possibilities are there. Other than that, it's really not possible for us to provide you the right kind of advising. So with that, I'll wrap up the session for today. And before we ask for leave, we'll share a video and enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll soon be back next week. Bye-bye.